Hi everyone, I'm Andrew. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about, is thrifting good for the environment? Thrifting is not just for the frugal anymore. Over the past few years, more and more sustainable shoppers and zero wasters have picked up thrifting as a way to reduce and reuse rather than consume. With any new trend comes controversy, and so there are some people who say thrifting is not that great. So today let's look at, is thrifting actually good for the environment and could it be bad? As I try to uncover the answer to this question, I'm going to be covering several things. First, we're going to talk about what thrifting is. Then we're going to talk about thrifting for the environment, fast fashion, why is fast fashion bad, how thrifting can be better than fast fashion, and several more things. So let's get started. First and foremost, what is thrifting? Thrifting is just buying something used. You might also hear the terms secondhand or consignment. Anything that basically refers to buying stuff that's used is in the same ballpark as thrifting. But thrifting specifically means that you're shopping at a thrift store or a thrift shop. Like I said before, over the past several years, a lot of people have adopted thrifting as a way to reduce and reuse rather than buying new products. People like me want to do that because every product that you buy comes with its own environmental footprint. That refers to the impact that that product has on the planet. For example, a cotton t-shirt takes 713 gallons of water to produce. And that's not even all that goes into that t-shirt. There's also going to be fertilizers and pesticides, fuel for the farming technology and equipment, fuel for transportation, packaging. All of that goes into that one shirt in order to get it from the soil that it grew in, the cotton grew in, to your hands. Every step in that process has its own environmental impact. And then it also collectively has a overall environmental impact. When you buy new, you're creating the demand for that t-shirt, and that is encouraging companies to continue to impact the environment in the ways that they need to produce the products you want to buy. When you buy used, you're not creating the demand for those new products. You're not creating the 713 gallon water usage needed to grow a t-shirt because you bought one that was already purchased new from someone else, and now you're giving more life to that product. And that's the basic reasoning as to why thrifting can be good for the environment. So thrifting is good for the environment because it reduces the overall demand for new products and raw materials in the economy. But now let's talk about fast fashion. Fast fashion is a term used to describe a segment of the fashion industry that creates clothes cheaply and quickly so that they can keep up with current trends. As the saying goes, you get what you pay for. That's particularly true with fast fashion. Rather than paying $100 for a really nice sweater that's gonna last you a long time, people now will pay $20 to $30 for a sweater that won't last nearly as long as they did decades ago, or if you bought a quality piece of clothing. The low quality of fast fashion products means that you have to buy more. You create more demand for products. You're requiring more cotton to be grown, more packaging to be used, more shipping to be done, and that overall leads to a larger environmental impact. And so let's look at this example of just, let's say 10 years. A sweater, a good quality sweater will last you 10 years. In this example, in reality, it'll probably last you longer. If a fast fashion sweater is only going to last you 2 to 3 years, that means that over 10 years, you'd have to buy 3 to 5 sweaters rather than just buying one good quality sweater at $100. Worst case scenario, you have to buy up to 5 sweaters to last you 10 years. You're even spending more than the $100 that you would have on a good quality product. So really investing in good quality products rather than fast fashion can also save you money while doing the planet better. It's also important to note here that a lot of fast fashion products don't sell. Those products are in turn either discarded, they're damaged and thrown away, or they're sold to other countries. And I just read an article, an insider article, that was talking about a place in Chile where a lot of our fast fashion products end up. And so these companies should sell them to other South American or Central American countries, and they're still discarded. And so I'm gonna link that article in the description below so that you can see, because there's literally mountains of unused clothes just sitting there, just discarded because people haven't bought it. So even though the demand wasn't there, the products were still created and it's still a part of the industry's waste overall. So why is fast fashion worse than thrifting, or thrifting is better than fast fashion? For all of those reasons. When you buy from a thrift store, you're not creating a demand for a bunch of packaging, a bunch of shipping, a bunch of raw materials to get produced. And so you're really just picking up something that somebody has decided they don't want to use anymore and giving it more life. Before we move on to why thrifting is sometimes considered bad, if you're finding value in this video, if it's helpful answering your questions, give it a thumbs up, comment if you have any questions, and if you'd like, go ahead and subscribe. All of that engagement supports my channel so that I can continue to make content like this. So on the flip side of things, why is thrifting sometimes considered bad? One major reason as to why is because it makes the demand for used products a lot higher, and that can make it more challenging for people that have to shop secondhand or have to shop at thrift stores to find good quality clothing. That's especially true when there are people out there who are constantly browsing thrift stores for the rare find or the jewel in the rack. And that would be a quality piece of clothing that is worth a lot on a retail website that really hasn't been used, maybe is a designer name. They'll buy that for $2, $3, $4 from the thrift store and then sell it online for a lot more. That can be really harmful because rather than somebody buying that who needs it or who wants to use it, there's someone out there who's buying it just to turn a profit and taking from people who want to live sustainably or who have to buy secondhand. Another bad thing to thrifting that only applies sometimes is certain large names tend to have controversy around them. Brands like Goodwill and the Salvation Army are a good example. The Salvation Army has had controversy in the past because of projects or groups that they fund. And Goodwill is sometimes considered controversial because they're taking products that were donated to them for free, turning a profit, and in turn paying their employees very, very little, sometimes even less than minimum wage, all while making so much money off of products that they got for free. Ultimately, it's up to you, just like with any other product that you would buy, to research the companies or the brands that you're buying from and to find brands and companies that align with your values. I will admit that I still shop at Goodwill. I actually got this shirt at Goodwill a while ago, but often what I do is I shop at other stores and then I'll finish at a store like Goodwill so that hopefully I can find what I need or what I'm looking for at a different store. If you still want to thrift while avoiding some of the ethical concerns of thrifting, I'm going to talk about those in the next 3 sections. So let's move on to the next section. Where to start thrifting? If you're completely new to thrifting or secondhand shopping, then I'm gonna recommend that you start with the shops that are nearest to you. That's because unlike if you go to an outlet mall or a shopping center, if you're looking for something like a specific sweater or specific color or a specific kind of pants, then you're likely to find it. Whereas with thrift stores, it's kind of a gamble. They're not guaranteed to have anything, and so you might not find what you're looking for, and that can feel like an inconvenience. If you go to a store that's closest to you, it's gonna feel like less of an inconvenience if you're not finding what you wanted to find because you didn't have to drive as far or get out for as long. That's what I would recommend. Where to go thrift shopping? Again, I would look up the names of the stores that are in your area and look at some of the work that they do. You're probably gonna have a Goodwill nearby. You might have a Salvation Army nearby, but chances are you're also gonna have local stores. For example, I have thrifted at a Boys and Girls thrift store, and so the profits from that store go to funding the local Boys and Girls Club. I have also shopped at a store locally that pays for medical expenses and financially supports and socially supports local cancer survivors. And so they're a registered nonprofit and they support people in this community with the profits that they get from the thrift store. So I'll go to stores like that first and then I'll finish up at somewhere like Goodwill. But it's really up to you to kind of figure out what works for you and how you want to accomplish your ethical goals. Another thing you could do is to shop somewhere like at a consignment store. Consignment stores usually have higher prices than thrift stores, and that's because they work different than thrift stores. Whereas thrift stores will just get donated products, consignment stores basically will get a product from someone, they'll hold on to it, and if they sell it, then they keep a portion of that money, but they'll give a lot of that money back to the original owner. So it's kind of like someone is doing the selling for you. That still allows you to buy items that have been used and to buy secondhand items, but generally they're going to be more expensive than what you would find at a thrift store, and they're going to be potentially higher quality as well. It might seem like a no-brainer, but if you've never been, it can be a little bit daunting, a little bit intimidating. So the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is figure out what you want to buy. If you're trying to live more sustainably, you don't wanna just go to thrift stores to see what they have and just buy things that you don't really need. That still is unsustainable, even if you're buying secondhand. So go shopping with a purpose, buy the things that you need, and don't just buy things that you kind of want, because ultimately those items can end up being unused, they can end up in the trash, and that is still very wasteful. Once you know what you want, figure out what stores you're gonna go to. Google's gonna be your best friend. They're gonna have all the local thrift stores and secondhand shops in your area. I would also recommend looking online. Places like Facebook Marketplace and community Facebook groups can really help you locate specific items or find garage sales. All of those places are gonna have secondhand items or used items that you can purchase as well. And a lot of times you'll be able to find what you're looking for quicker. And then when you found out where you're gonna go, all you need to do is basically bring yourself and your wallet. So when you go, you can bring a reusable grocery bag. Oftentimes I just carry the item out of my hand because I go for 1 or 2 items. And then I also recommend bringing cash until you know what your stores allow. I know which stores will accept a credit card or a debit card and which ones won't. A lot of local stores especially don't accept like Visa debit or credit cards because of the high fees that come with using those cards. And when you're buying an item that is 50 cents or $2, that fee eats up a large portion of what they're making by selling that product. So they only accept cash up to a certain amount. And so that's really everything I have on thrifting. I hope that it was helpful in answering questions about whether or not thrifting is environmentally friendly and giving information on when it can be good, when it can be bad, and how to thrift best. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.